Hi, everybody. I'm Annie.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
And we are Overcommitted. Is it we are or we're? Jeez-a-loo.
I think it's we're overcommitted. Like
Okay.
we are overcommitted to that bit.
We are overcommitted to that bit. We're going to get it one of these days.
Yeah.
How's it going, pal?
It's going good. I've been doing a lot of adulting. I have imposter syndrome about my age, I guess.
Because you were pushing 40.
I'm quite an adult.
Yeah.
I'm very much.
I thought for sure you were going to take that opportunity to talk about how you're still in your 30s.
I am. I'm in my late 30s.
And I am.
You're over 40. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 41, actually.
If your 40s were a job, you're pretty comfortable with the job.
I'm feeling pretty good about
Yeah.
how it's. No, I'm actually feeling terrible about it, but
Okay.
but I am.
You can't quit.
I am in there. You know, I could train somebody else. I'll train you.
I'm not. Thank you.
You're almost here.
What do I have? Month and a half?
Yeah.
Month and a half left.
Yep.
To 40.
Enjoy it while you can, bud. Get those last drops out of your 30s. I don't know what that means.
Those last drops. I don't know what that means.
Savor it. Savor it. Just like you savor your kids' youth.
You do have to savor your kids'
Savor
youth.
it.
Yeah. I've been. I took our kid to the doctors today, and this is when I understand why old people are mad at everything.
Not me.
No, not quite. No, it's like why old people get mad, and it's because they don't like repetition. It's just like, I've done this a million times. And I find this infuriating. What do you think about this? When you go to a new doctor's office,
Tell me.
whether it's for your kid or you have to fill out a million forms.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't infuriate me if I wasn't writing the same damn thing.
Yeah.
On every form.
Yeah.
Just name, date of birth, signature.
Like, isn't there a computer we could put this in? Anything
That's
in
what they're
my
gonna
head.
do.
Anything that can be computerized that is not computerized at this point in time is infuriating. I told you recently, I know it's not, I don't want to get into the weeds on insurance, but I put our daughter's birthday in wrong.
Yeah, you did.
And
something I've always been afraid of doing.
I know. I felt like an idiot.
Yeah.
Both our kids are born on the 1st and the 2nd. I put them both as the 2nd. It's fine. And I called to fix it, and they were like, it's going to take 3 to 7 business days. And I was like, why? It's going in the computer into the World Wide Web. I don't understand why things take. It's not going in the mail. It's not in the postal service.
Yeah, I agree.
Why does it take 3 to 7 days to fix?
You just want to say, no, it won't.
Yeah, put it on the internet.
You could do it right now. I know you could.
I don't know. I don't know how things work.
No, I don't either. I say things like that.
Yeah.
This goes back to us getting old. This was the things we complain about now.
Yeah.
There used to be a complaint of like, there's only 6 episodes in the season of the show we like this year.
For that reason, paperwork bothers me about I have a job where I sometimes have to fill out paperwork, sometimes as much as twice a year. And you just want to be like, you know it from last time. The most infuriating thing is they ask for my passport or driver's license every time. And it's like, what are we doing here? I've worked for you for 12 years.
That's wild.
What are we doing?
I appreciate that you're destroying the photo, though.
I guess. Keep it. Keep it. Put it on a board in your office.
Yeah.
I don't care. Display it.
Blow it up. Make it a like.
What are we
size.
pretending like our information isn't just like everywhere for everyone to see all the time? I've had the same password for 20 years. Like, what are we doing?
All right, so you're going to change that
My password
right after
is...
this podcast.
There's no numbers.
That.
There's no special characters.
Everyone stop.
It's my grandmother's name. You could look it up on... Just kidding.
I was tempted in that moment. Tempted. Was never going to do it. Not in a million years. But to like walk out to the receptionist and go, I know you're putting all this in the computer. Can you just do the first sheet and kind of... I'll sign whatever you need to sign multiple times. I don't mind signing multiple papers.
Sure, that makes sense.
But it was literally like...
Initials.
Patient's name, date of birth.
Yeah.
Patient's name, date of birth. I was like, come on, guys. Come on, guys.
When you do that too much, you accidentally put in the wrong date of birth sometimes. I've heard from other people.
It can happen.
It can happen.
Repetition is your enemy.
Yeah.
And then I had to meet the local school board for the district.
I do see why you fell out of your league.
And
you don't know. You're not sure who he is.
Confident what he does. But I had to meet him today because PTA. I had to talk to him. I felt so uncomfortable. And I remember in the moment, I think I told you this earlier, but I remember in the moment kind of like smiling on the inside because I just did a live show for like 100 people.
Yeah.
And I was very nervous, but I was like, I don't think I was continuously as nervous as I am right now talking to this because he's just too much of an adult.
Right.
It was a room of 4 adults and me who is legally very much an adult.
Yeah.
If I committed a crime, it would say middle-aged man.
Yeah.
Or man in his late 30s.
And they all act very professional. Like our principal's very professional. And I always feel like out of my league with her because I work with people who don't act professionally. You know, there's not a single person I work with that keeps up the guise of being a super professional.
Do you think that's why we have that, like, I don't think Arrested Development's the word, but like why we have that like imposter syndrome?
I think it's probably part of it. Neither one of us is super used to being in like a corporate setting. I mean, the closest we've ever gotten was maybe working in like a corporate restaurant. Which is like sort of that way. You have to speak in the way they ask you to, but
call them guests instead of customers.
Yeah. Take them on a menu tour.
Take them on a menu
when
tour.
they sit down.
Oh my God.
But no, neither one of us ever worked at like a, any kind of corporate office. Actually, I did. I worked at a financial institution in New York for a minute when I was.
You did?
Yeah, I was temping, but it was like a long-term temp gig, and I was working the front desk, and it was very embarrassing because people would call, and usually it would just be like, "Can I speak to this person?" And then I would have to like look at papers and find their extension, and then connect them. It was all very not computerized.
So you were on your way to being. That was your in.
Not at all.
Talking weird for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I guess so, but I didn't get there at all. And then a couple times I fielded a phone call where someone was asking for information, and I was like, I can't tell you how much I'm not aware of what building I'm in. I don't. And they were like, can we speak to somebody in brokerages? And I was like, I don't know what that means, and I'm not sure what that word is.
Oh yeah, you should call them.
Yeah. If you have a name.
Yeah.
I can look them up on this list that I have. Other than that, if someone came in looking for someone, I had a map with a grid, and I had to be like, okay, D7, D7. So you're going to go down this hall.
Did you get that deep and breathing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I was immediately sweating, trying not to take too long.
Is that weird when you can feel the sweat immediately come out of your top of your head?
Because not only do I have to locate them on the grid, which is not the end of the world, but I'm not sure which way the map is. It happens so rarely. I was there probably 3 weeks, and I think I had to do it twice. So when it happened, I was like, oh boy.
Oh man.
Yeah, we're not very corporate people. The other funny thing about when you meet with a superintendent or a principal is you find yourself trying to figure out what clothes you have that are appropriate.
Yeah.
That's something even when I go to our parent-teacher conferences, I have to think about what isn't showing my midriff.
Yeah.
What's appropriate. I mean, I'm in leisure wear most of the day because I work from home.
The principal.
And I'm taking back my youth. So sometimes I show my midriff as a 41-year-old.
Yeah, go for it.
But not trying to do that at student-teacher conferences.
No, not interested. Yeah, when the principal was like, could you stop by? He's, this board member's going to be here. I was wearing a Star Trek shirt that spelled Unity with all Star Trek weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was wearing an Ultraman Rising hat, and I was like, yeah, that's in an hour. That's time for me to go home and change because I won't be wearing any of this.
Yeah. But you found a compromise, not like you put on a dress shirt.
No, I put on a nice polo.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what I'm realizing is what I find jarring, and it's kind of funny? What's jarring about talking to real grown-ups, this is a wild thing that we're
I love that you say, it's so weird when you say things like real grown-ups when we're literally 40 years old.
I know, we pay a mortgage,
taxes,
insurance. We have a car.
You have a car.
We have a car. I'm not borrowing it from my dad.
Real grown-up stuff.
I'm not borrowing it from my dad.
No.
It's my car.
And we look after 2 young children.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yeah, we're totally entrusted with their care.
We have a dog who's laying in front of us.
Yeah, he's
curled up in a ball. But what I realize is when I talk to real adults,
I
mean the ones who have
brokerages,
multiple clean button-ups.
I thought you were going to say butts.
I bet they do.
Multiple clean.
They probably got money bidets. The warm ones.
We have a bidet. We are grown-ups.
They have the warms. They have the toilet seat warmers.
Oh, yeah,
anyway, they talk the way that you encourage your children to talk, and it's jarring. So it was like, say please and thank you. When I was like leaving, I was like, all right, I'm not going to take any more of your time. Thanks, guys. Shook everybody's hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I shook the board members' hand first, and then I shook the two women he was working with alongside. I was like, thank you. And he shook my hand again.
Sure, as many
He
times
just,
as you want,
stepped
man.
forward, and I was like, absolutely. And he was like, looked me in the eye, firm handshake. He was like, thank you for everything you do.
Wow.
I really appreciate you coming in here. I was like, this has to stop.
And they use your first name a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
they're like, thank you, Kevin. This has been really great meeting with you, Kevin.
And I was like,
like
no problem.
Not sure what I'm supposed to call you, so I'm just going to go, bruh.
Dad. Thanks, Dad.
This is really nice, Mr. Man.
If we do this again, can we hug? I don't know what to do.
You got to stop reaching out to men.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just we haven't worked in
Influences
that.
like that.
Maybe that's it. Maybe we just haven't worked in the corporate setting, you know? Maybe that's why.
I think that's definitely part of it. The people I work with now are still very casual.
Yeah.
When I'm occasionally in a setting, like the other day I had an HR meeting with like the entire
you
company.
did.
That was very like, oh, right. This is like, I do work at a broader company with like a bigger team of people that I don't know. And HR is very, HR-ish.
Sure.
So yeah, it was very different. And they threatened to call on you at any moment. So
didn't that feel childish though? To disparage your work, but like, and I'm disparaging that meeting. But when you told me they called on you,
they never did.
But didn't it remind you of like in school when they're like, we're all going to take one paragraph?
That's exactly what it was. I mean, I think it was for their sake. I just like, no one wants to hear me read for an hour, but it's like, yeah, but we also don't want to do this.
But that was the other reason for that exercise, to make sure you're paying attention, because you're then nervously like, okay. And that's one of those moments. Those moments in school are the moments when you think people care about you more than they definitely do. Because you're like, you trip over like esophagus or some word, and you're like, oh my
they
God.
think I'm an idiot. They think I don't know how to read.
And again, you get this instant hot head sweats, hot body sweats, and now you're just like, you're just surviving this paragraph for however long.
My voice will sometimes quiver, or like I have trouble like catching my breath. It's very strange considering I've performed before on stage.
What do you mean now?
Yeah, like in a situation like that where if they were like, Annie, can you read a paragraph? I can't say that it would or wouldn't. Like I might be completely okay, but I also might like get a little shaky.
Isn't that weird?
And my voice might quiver and I wouldn't be able to cover it, which is like mortifying because like I'm a great reader.
The second you're done, everyone's forgotten you've read.
No one cares. No one's looking for feeling. It's like you just need to read the words, and I can read really well.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I bulldozed you. You are a good reader.
Thank you. I was going to repeat it until you said something back.
I'm sorry. You're a very good reader.
I would have asked for the compliment after we finished the podcast if you didn't. So
yeah, a lot of times you're like, "Are you done with the mail already?"
Really glad we cleared that up. They also would do these checkpoints where they'd ask a question based on what you were learning. This was about harassment, and even that. You would just write your answer in the chat. And even that, I would like read the question. I'm like, obviously it's B. I'm still going to wait for somebody else to dial in before I say it.
Oh.
In case I'm misreading it, I don't want to be the person they're like, actually, no, Annie.
So you didn't want to be like, you didn't want to be wrong, but you don't have that, whatever, that needy student mentality of like.
To know the answer first?
Yeah.
No, well, maybe a little both, but no. I just was more concerned with being wrong. But I shouldn't have worried about it. Lots of people got it wrong lots of times.
Sure.
People don't really care.
No, that's the point, is nobody cares.
It's just checkpoints to make sure you're at least somewhat paying attention.
Same. I mean, I had it today. Leaving that meeting today, I was like, oh, that was embarrassing. I handled that. I feel like I left really aggressively. That was probably they forgot about me instantly, almost immediately.
Yeah.
But I couldn't let it go. And when I see him again,
I think you probably made a real impact, actually.
Oh, God, do you think?
No.
Oh. Darn.
Sorry. So I think we should chat about something.
Okay. You really set that up like it's a problem.
It's a problem. It's the end of August. We are reaching the end of another summer.
Okay. Yeah, I see.
That's number 8.
I see this is going.
I thought we could talk a little bit about the 18 summers and how
is this number 8 or is this number 9?
I don't really know.
It's number 9. She's
She's
our
born
daughter
in
was
June,
born
I
in
guess.
June.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's
So
number
we had the
9.
0, or is that 0 summer?
So we
Do you
live-
actually get 19 summers? Do you get 18 summers, but 0 counts?
I'm not sure who's done the math. For those that don't know what we're talking about, I'm talking about the thing online where people say you only get 18 summers. I like to mock it a lot. I've mocked it a lot online. And to be fair, it doesn't really matter. I get what people are talking about.
Yeah.
I get what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it bothers me every time. Except that it's not that serious. I want people to know.
Yeah, I agree with you. It bothers me. And it's allowed to bother you. And it's also like you're also allowed to feel bad about dogs that need rescuing or something. Like
I do feel bad about it.
Oh, good. Yeah. Good. It is not that serious, but at the same time, it does feel, I don't think patronizing is the word. How would you describe it?
Maybe.
I feel like it's intended to make you feel bad because what they're saying is mean out the gate because there's no do-overs in parenting.
Yeah.
At all.
Right. So if you weren't really paying attention those first couple summers, you can't go back.
If you were working, like because you were trying to get a promotion at your job or just because you had to work and you worked like 12-hour shifts for the first 3 summers the kid was alive, it's like, well, you only get 18. It's like, all right, well, I also get kicked out of this house if I don't pay my mortgage or rent and it's so disingenuous and lame, but also it's just mean.
I think it's just unnecessary. To me, I think we live in an age right now with, and this is funny for me to say, because we create content online. And it's like the 24-hour news cycle that like content's got a content if you're trying to grow a page. So people have to
Wow, I didn't think about it that way, but you're 100% right. It is like the CNN, Fox News.
It's like 24 hours is really
MSNBC.
too much.
Yeah.
I think we should do less of it. Less news is better. And I think the same thing is for content creators, except that you can't, you're not necessarily going to get engagement and growth if you don't post regularly. But then like maybe you don't have something to say every day. And that's great. Like I don't think people should have some amazing statement they have to make every day. So that's where I feel like 18 Summers type content sometimes comes where people just know it's going to be an engagement farm. They know people are going to be like, oh, weepy about it. And listen, it works for some people. I really think if it works for you, that's totally fine. The reason I actually brought it up is because the other day I got up at 5 to do some work like I do sometimes.
Yeah.
And I came in the office, which is, by the way, gross. But sometimes I get up at 5 and I come in the office and I start my day a little early and then maybe I'll work out afterwards or something. And I was on my phone watching social media. I'm sure something was buffering. I was working.
You woke up at 5
I don't just get up at 5 a.m. to watch Instagram.
But be honest, you've done that because I've done that. I've gotten up at 5 and then found myself like
for sure
on social
scrolling.
media,
You're like,
what
are you
You've
doing?
been doing this for 45 minutes. This is awful.
Yeah. You go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
No, in this circumstance, I'm sure I was probably waiting for something to turn on or something.
Sure.
And I was looking at my phone. I saw one of these posts. I don't think it was 18 Summer specific, but it was something like, one day you're going to turn around and they're going to be a full grown adult. And it was one of those that made you weepy. And I was just like, oh, it just made me annoyed. Because like, I just don't need it. And then it was like shortly after, our youngest came into the room in his PJs. His hair was all messy and he climbed in my arms like a little baby. And I started just like full blown weeping.
What?
Because, and this is my point, is that like, I don't need it. I don't need the social media post to
100%.
remind me that they're growing up. Like, I have a little kid who is toddling in here. He's not toddling. I mean, he's only toddling because he's sleepy. He's 5. But he's, looking more and more like a big kid every day. But he still climbs in my arms like a little baby. And, I mean, it made me just like blubber. He didn't notice. He was tired.
Oh, can I tell you what he just did just now? Like literally.
What?
We just put them to bed because the only way we could do this podcast is when they're both asleep. You were in the other room with our oldest, and I was laying down with him, and he was like, can you get me water? And I was like, sure. And I got him water. And I gave him, and it's just like one of those little kid water bottles where the straw flips up. And I gave it to him, and I was just like lying next to him. And the way he drank it, he must have like slipped his lip on it or something. It was the exact sound he made when he was drinking from a bottle, like a milk bottle. And and then he started drinking.
And then you
And then the
started
way he
openly weeping?
I wasn't close to weeping, but then he like the next sounds he made of him drinking sounded exactly like how he drank a bottle.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden I was just like holding him insanely tight, like I was pressed up against his face, like up against like a window. I was like holding him, which he was like down for because he's very like
Yeah, he's very touchy,
yeah, he's
grabby.
very touchy. But yeah, that's like, not to cut into your story, but like that's what's so frustrating about it is like it is happening to us.
I know, that's what I mean, is like you have these moments all the time where you're like, they're growing up, and it like sneaks you see a photo memory of them, and you see how far they've come, or like just like dropping them at a different gate at school. There's like so many little moments that kind of break your heart.
Yeah.
Regularly as a parent,
Yeah.
I don't need it coming in the middle of my social media feed, which is probably like people are just like, then get off social media, and you're not wrong.
You're not wrong, but we do it for entertainment, and we like to do the entertaining. And the problem with social media, that's like kind of a good thing because you can discover new things and blah blah blah. Is like you got to watch all the channels. You don't have to watch them; you can flip through them. But it's like you're channel surfing. That's like what you're doing.
Yeah.
So sometimes you land on a channel where you're like, oh, piss off.
Yeah.
Like I've said this before when you and I have talked about this. The first 4 years of our daughter's life, I was a stay-at-home dad. When you were in the office, I was taking her to all the classes and blah, 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 pre-COVID and doing all the things. I still miss those days terribly. So like the whole, like you only get 18 summers is just rude.
Yeah, it's like I was hyper aware and I still miss it.
I was still on board, still in it, still doing stuff. I'll still go through my phone and look at photos and go like, oh man. So it's like, what is the purpose of doing that?
I know.
Other than to make you feel bad. And I know what people are going to say. And if you like that, whatever, you do you. But like the whole purpose of the saying is like, don't miss an opportunity.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. But it does feel patroning.
Well, and I will say too, when it comes from somebody who's like, I've got 2 adult children and it goes by in a blink or something, like you've got the right to do that. Like I'll take your wisdom all day.
That's different. I'm all for that. 100%.
It reminds me just now when I listened to it. It was Julie Louis Dreyfus's podcast.
Uh-huh.
And oh God, what she had Carol Burnett on. And she said something like, oh man, I'm gonna forget it now. I probably shouldn't be repeating it.
Let's just switch over to that podcast now.
We'll just pull a clip from that. Yeah. And she said something like, what is it like to be 90 or 90? She's either 90 or 95. And she was like, it feels like I was 11 yesterday. Like I still feel like I'm a kid.
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, that's the kind of wisdom that I'll to listen to, Yeah. Tell me life goes by fast when you are 90 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I still don't need it, but.
I definitely don't need to hear that. That sounds awful. What a horrible thing for somebody to say.
Don't say that about Carol Burnett. She's a queen.
She's a gem. She's one of the greats, but my God, I'd be like, okay, thanks for coming on.
Yeah. But when it's from some 30-year-old content creator who's got like a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and she's like, blink and you'll miss it. It's like, come on, man. You're in it right now. You can't be making platitudes like that. You're tired. You want to miss it at that age.
Platitudes. You'd have done a good job reading that in a paragraph, I bet.
I would have.
Good word usage.
Thank you.
You say platitudes, I think of attitudes and platypuses.
Platypuses with attitude. Why didn't we name our podcast that?
Platypuses with attitude? That's our logo.
Anyway, that's my thoughts on how fast. It's not just the 18 summers either. There's a bunch of different versions of it. Hell, there are just like straight up accounts that is all they do is make you feel sad about your kids getting older. And I also, that's the other thing too, is like, I feel like when you have young kids, it makes you so worried that you're going to just feel horrible all the time about them growing up.
Yeah.
When in reality, we have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. Mm-hmm. Every age has been the best age. Like it's not been bad yet. Like it keeps getting cooler.
It does get cooler. It is. I've been asked that a lot. What's your favorite age? And I'm like, that's not really fair.
They all have struggles.
They all have struggles. Of course they do. And I know there's probably people who are listening who have like teenagers and they're like, I can tell you when the drop off is.
I hear that a lot about our oldest, who's a girl.
But right now it's like, what's your favorite age? And it's like, I don't know. My 8-year-old and I have really fun conversations, but my 5-year-old's a riot and like so innocent and sweet to watch. So I don't know. I really enjoyed 2, but like 8's fun because I can play video games with her. It's like,
I know, but I really do feel like I used to be like 3 is the best age. I think 3 is absolutely the best age. Actually, you know what? 4 might be the
yeah, that's
four
what
is
we
kind
did. Probably
you
this
know
one.
what? 5 is pretty cool. I really
Yeah.
like 5.
Yeah.
It's getting better. The like just wait of it all, or the you're gonna miss it is like, I mean, yeah, maybe, but I don't miss being so delirious with a newborn that like I didn't know what day it was or where I was sometimes.
I think that's what I was gonna say is like, yeah, 3 was great, but like there's so many annoying things about 3. And same with 4. It's like with every age they get older, they get more responsible or more or more independent. That's right.
Yeah.
And therefore, it's like, all right, a little less off your plate in this regard. So
Sure.
that's pretty great. But
What's the best age? When they can buckle themselves into their car seat. That's the best age.
so, 8 for sure, but probably younger. Although my son buckles.
Yeah,
my
he
son
buckles himself in now.
so-
Probably not well. We should check it more than we do. Buckling kids into car seats for some reason was my kryptonite.
You hate it.
I'm that's the way I really consider myself a passenger princess. Is at some point I just started getting in the passenger
started getting
seat
in
and
the
letting
car.
you handle it.
Your father used to live with us for 2 years, and the only way you've been acting like your father is when you'd get in the car. You'd do the same thing. I was just like, all right.
You didn't seem to mind it as much. There's something about having to reach under their grundle and find the thing and pull it
Yeah.
out, and
I call it knuckle in the crotch.
yeah, it's the worst. And sometimes
Yeah.
it gets lost in the different pieces of the thing.
The different levels of
Yeah.
their
And
size.
there's
Yeah.
food in there.
So much food.
It's gross. I mean, we could be cleaner, but
All right. So our favorite age is just not car seats. That's our favorite age.
but we loved it when they were there. It was great.
Loves looking at their goofy little faces in the rearview mirror. We should be looking at the road.
Yep.
Something we've talked about doing on this podcast. We've talked about doing on this podcast.
Yeah, because we're still figuring out what we want to do with this.
Still figuring it out.
Which, by the way, this is a good time to say if you have any ideas
Yeah, if you have something you'd like to see us do or talk about,
or answer questions or
you can email us.
read Reddit threads about parenting,
Mm-hmm. Email us at
Or-
Overcommitted.
read news articles,
We're not going to read
watch
news articles
parenting movies.
or show you our previous up to not 18 years, but up to 8 now. We'll show you photos. We won't.
No, we won't. Sorry. Anyway, if you have ideas, please send them our way.
Is
at Overcommitted.
overcommitted@gmail.com.
Oh, I don't think we have a Gmail.
We don't.
Do
okay.
we? I don't
Then
think
you guys
so.
can DM us
At
on
Overcommitted
Instagram
Pod.
at overcommittedpod. DM us. But one of the things we talked about is things we want to recommit to.
Yeah. Recommit.
Oh yeah, we have that soundbite in. One of the things that I would like to recommit to is doing one little thing every week for the house.
Yeah.
So hard with having kids our age. I feel like everything's always a mess.
Been getting away from us.
It's been getting away from us.
Uh-huh.
And it's just like it's not laziness, it's just time. And I know
Yeah.
so many other people have that. And it's been frustrating because there's so much with our house. Our house is very old.
Yeah.
It's 70 years old and 75 years old. And yeah, just like little things, wear and tear and stuff that bother us about this house. And we
Yeah.
just like live with them. And it's always like, oh, I got to do that thing. That's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm always saying. So I'd like to recommit to doing that specifically. I'll make this promise, even though nobody's going to care. I'm saying it out loud, so it's for me. It's like when you write something
Okay.
down and you don't need to read it later because you wrote it down.
Sure, yeah.
There's a baseboard in the bathroom.
Yes, replace
I
it.
gotta replace. So
I think it's mildewy. That's probably bad for our health.
we're doing fine. We only have 18 summers left.
Yeah, I would love to get. I don't know how I would ever do it. In fact, if you have any suggestions for this, legit send it to my way.
Okay.
Some kind of, I don't know if people are on like a schedule for their house. I don't even know if we could. Our schedules are usually so up in the air. But like, sometimes I'm like, would that help if like, Mondays was clean the bathroom days and Tuesdays was wipe down the baseboards days, and I don't know.
Well, that's where
baseboards aren't getting wiped down, but I would like even just every other Saturday if it was yard work day. Like, I just don't know how people. We usually do yard work when it's just like, oh, our yard has gotten obscene and it's getting embarrassing.
It's so funny that, like, and I know this is no secret. I'm not saying anything people don't already know, but like, my parents, when they come to visit, they stay with us. And it's always just like, oh, God, gotta clean the house.
We need them to come more. They haven't
Every
come enough.
time we do, I'm happy.
You know what? That's part of the reason, honestly, our house has been in such
We haven't
shambles
had
lately.
any guests in a
We have
while.
not had guests in a while. We should call your parents and say, like, please
Yeah.
come.
It is, because every time you groan, oh, you clean the house, they're going to be here Saturday, you know? And then the house is...
I never groan. Kevin's parents.
I'm not groaning that they're visiting. I'm groaning that we have to have the house.
Right.
But then when the house is clean, it's like, oh, this feels really nice.
Feels so good.
This is how you're supposed to live.
Yeah. And on those rare occasions that, like, you have visitors, but then you don't, like, spend a lot of time at home. Oh, that's the best.
Oh, when you have visitors and we're all in the backyard?
Yeah, we're, like, all in the backyard, or we, like,
Yeah.
have plans all weekend. So, like, the only room that was really, like, adjusted was, like, the room they stayed in.
Yep.
And everything else is, like, still nice. That's the best. That's the best feeling in the world. Or, like, I think I made a sketch once about, like, just call and say you're coming and then don't come.
Right.
That'd be
That
the
was
best.
a good sketch. So I guess we do talk about adult things.
What do you mean?
Oh, I just said we're not adults, but then we were just like fantasizing about a clean house.
This is what we think about now.
That's not what 20-year-olds do.
Daydream about a good clean house.
Yeah.
I thought the other day, I was like, maybe I'll get up and instead of going to the gym, I'll do yard work. That kind of counts as working out. That's an old person thought. That's a 40-year-old thought.
I had an old person thought yesterday.
Are we offending older people with all this old person thought? We mean that as a very nebulous age. It could be whatever it's in your heart.
I'm still late 30s. But
I think I'm still a teenager.
Yeah, well, that's why I don't feel comfortable talking to, like I said, real adults. But the other day,
Who could possibly be younger than you?
I looked it up. He is.
He is?
By like
The school board member was younger than you?
He's my age, but he was born a year before, or a year later. I mean, wow. So my where this is the things I talk about that I didn't used to talk about. I was like talking about how like I probably need to get a straw hat for myself for yard work. Yeah, I said that. Because it's just full coverage. That way it protects my neck and my face.
Yeah. Skin cancer's a real thing, bud.
Yeah, but in your 20s, you don't care about that stuff.
No, in my 20s, I was at a tanning bed.
Yeah, now we're paying for it.
Yep,
Anyway.
That's why I got the sunspots. I don't know what that voice is.
That's why I got the heartburn. Stop eating buffalo wings.
Should I recommit to something? I don't know if I have anything to recommit to.
Really?
Well, I'm sure I have a million things. I just haven't thought about it. I guess
Sure.
I'd like to recommit to being on my phone a little less.
That's a good one.
That's so hard.
I said to you the other day, I want to put a Post-it note on my phone because I can't turn it off because I need to have it on in case somebody calls me.
Sure.
But I am a social media addict, but I have to have it on my phone. I can't delete the apps because I work. That's my job. But I'm an addict. I will just like absentmindly grab my phone and start like opening up and just start
a comfort
scrolling.
thing.
It's a comfort thing. And I wanted to put a Post-it note on there that just said nope. And just put it face down. And just every time I pick it up. Because I didn't put the Post-it note on, but I was good about picking it up and going, no.
Yeah.
Finish your tasks.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that's a great one.
Yeah, I think I might start just putting it in my drawer.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or put a Post-it note that says nope. I think that's
I
a great idea.
I really want to do that
I
one.
think that's fun.
I think that's weird.
Oh,
Maybe I'll make you a phone case
you could write nuh-uh.
I'll make you a phone case that says nuh-uh for your birthday. Happy birthday.
Thanks.
Well, you feel good about life?
Yeah, why?
Well, if sometimes tell you your doctor called.
Oh, no. Why do they call you? I do feel good about life. I think that's a good place to leave it.
That's what I was thinking.
Guys, thanks so much for listening. Please rate and review this podcast, specifically on Apple Podcasts, but really wherever you get your podcasts.
Yep.
Leave a 5-star rating if you liked it. If you don't like it, don't leave that review. Don't listen to anything I said at all.
Yeah, just be quiet.
But yeah, the reviews help more people see our podcast. So the more, the merrier. And we'd love to read them. So please send those in. And
join us on Instagram over at Overcommitted Pod.
And I'm on social media. My personal is @KevLaugh, but I'm also At The Dumb Dads.
And I'm at Annie LaFerrier. Annie.LaFerrier on TikTok.
All right, you have two different ones.
Yeah, I couldn't secure the same one. I tried to secure either one. Didn't care which one.
Can get it lined up.
Couldn't get lined up.
Sure.
There's other Annie LaFerriers out there who've got work to do too, you know?
Yeah, that's okay.
I can't judge them for it.
You'll be fine. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll chat next week.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye.